Hello and welcome to the podcast on lead-acid batteries by Ramesh Natarajan. With industry experience of over 42 years, Ramesh helps battery and battery-related industries with technical inputs and provides solutions to typical problems faced by manufacturers, service personnel, as well as users of batteries and related equipments. Hope you find this podcast useful to your business. Do visit www.rameshnatarajan.in to stay connected.
Hello everybody. I'm often asked as to why does the water in an inverter battery dry up fast, and what is the need for such a frequent topping up of water in the inverter batteries. Before I answer this question, I shall briefly explain how the inverter works. The home inverter system is a two-part equipment. One part is the inverter per se and the other part is the battery. Now the inverter has two components. One is a component known as a charger and the other is the controller which converts the DC to AC and powers the equipment as and when there is a power outage. Now the inverter is connected to the AC mains. So as and when the power goes off, the inverter senses that the power has gone off and draws power from the battery and supplies to the equipments which are connected to the inverter. That is how these equipments run as and when the power shuts off. The inverter continues to remain connected to the AC utility mains. So when the power resumes, it realizes that the power has come and it shuts off the power from the battery to the equipments which are connected to the inverter and takes on the role of using this utility power, and the charger of the inverter starts recharging the battery for the next outage. Now this charger also has two steps of charging. One is the boost mode of charging, where it charges at a high current till the battery gets almost fully charged, and after the battery is fully charged, it goes into a mode where it gives a trickle current and maintains the battery in a float voltage such that this voltage is between 2.16 to 2.20 volt per cell. So this range in which the battery is maintained ensures that all the self-discharge losses which are there during the idle period of the battery is compensated. The self-discharge losses are compensated. In the case of sealed maintenance-free battery, this float voltage is somewhere around 2.25 to 2.27 volts per cell. And in the case of flooded electrolyte, it is between 2.16 to 2.20 volt per cell. Okay. Now, if it is around 2.2 volt per cell, means in a 12 volt battery there are 6 cells. So you got to multiply this voltage of per cell into 6 cells, and that is the voltage at which the inverter maintains the float voltage of the battery. Now that you understood that the battery and the inverter, how does this function? Now I will tell you why does the battery require frequent topping up, and what are the possible reasons why such a requirement comes up. The first and foremost reason is overcharging. Overcharging means suppose the inverter is faulty and it gives a charge to the battery on a continuous basis which is equal to boost voltage. I mean the boost current which goes, the high current which goes irrespective of whether the battery is fully charged or not. So as I explained to you, once the battery is fully charged, the current has to taper down to a trickle mode and a trickle current, which is a very low current, and only compensate for the self-discharge losses. But what happens is if the inverter is faulty, this change from a boost mode to a trickle current mode does not happen, and the battery gets continued to be charged at the boost voltage, which is a very high current, and then the battery gets heated up. There is a reaction in the electrolyte in such a manner that the hydrogen and oxygen both are evolved, and you have lot of gassing and evaporation of water from the electrolyte. And then because the water is going off from the electrolyte, there is a regular need for topping up on a more frequent basis than usual. That is why you experience the problem of the inverter demanding, the battery demanding more water, and this is due to the inverter overcharging the battery. The second reason is if you have kept the battery in a place where there is not much ventilation, and if the ventilation is poor, naturally it's getting heated up, and the inverter is also getting heated up, the battery is also getting heated up, and you find that this is requirement of water is going up. The third reason is a deep discharge. At times what happens is when the power goes off and the battery is supposed to cut off after a certain voltage, either due to a cut-off portion not working in the inverter, or maybe what you have done is you have put lot of equipments initially and later on you say, okay, I will put off 2 fans now and then one more light later, but I need one light continuously, and probably the battery is able to power this one bulb or whatever it is, and it continues getting into a deep discharge mode. Or the inverter is faulty and the inverter has a low cutoff setting which does not work, and the battery goes into a deep discharge mode. When the battery goes into a deep discharge mode, what happens is the electrolyte specific gravity goes down. It goes down to such an extent that the conductivity is lost. Now in such cases what happens is the battery needs to be taken to a constant current charger, and something known as a bench charging needs to be given. Now this can be done only at the dealer or manufacturer end. Dealers also have constant current chargers or chargers which can give a higher current than what the inverter is able to give to your battery. Now at times the user says, oh, I don't want to transport this battery to you, it's very cumbersome, it's costly, and you will take it, when are you going to give it back and all that. Now the only shortcut which is available to the service engineer is he puts in a little bit of acid, makes the electrolyte conductive in such a manner that the inverter is able to recharge the battery. But in such cases what has to be done is, after the battery is fully charged, the electrolyte specific gravity is more than the specific gravity recommended. So he is supposed to come back and remove the electrolyte a bit and reduce the specific gravity by adding water. If he does not do it, what happens is the battery again gets heated up because the electrolyte gravity is high, the sulfate from the plates cannot be released, and the charging continues, and when the charging continues and the voltage doesn't come properly up, so it gets heated up, and due to this deep discharge where electrolyte has been added into the cell also, the battery can get heated up and you require to add more and more water to compensate for the loss of water from the battery. The next reason is if you have kept the battery exposed to the sun or near a source of heat or near some furnace or near a generator or something which is a source of heat. In this case also the temperature goes up, and because the battery is near a source of heat, you have more frequent topping up required. Another reason is, suppose you bought an inverter and you have bought a battery which is of 12 volt 200 ampere hour. Later on, maybe about 3 or 4 years after usage, when you go to buy a new battery, instead of buying a 12 volt 200 Ah battery, you decide to buy a 12 volt 150 or 100 Ah battery because of the cost factor. That is, a 200 Ah battery naturally is costlier than a 100 or a 150 Ah battery. You start saying, oh, I don't want to invest so much, or maybe, oh, the power situation has improved. Now I do not want so much of a backup, so let me put a 100 or a 150 Ah battery. If you put a 100 or a 150 Ah battery to an inverter which was made for a 200 Ah battery, what happens is the charger setting and the current is such that it is supposed to charge a 200 Ah battery. Now you are putting a 100 or 150 Ah battery. definitely the 100 or 150 Ah battery is going to be heated up and the requirement of water is going to be higher. So this is another reason why you have the battery of the inverter demanding more water, or you're getting a feeling that the water is drying up fast. One more reason is the battery may be towards the end of life. If the battery is towards the end of life also, there is a possibility of battery getting heated up and the requirement of water for the battery being more frequent. So these are the various reasons why the battery demands more water, or you find that the battery of the inverter is to be topped up more frequently. Thank you.
Please do visit www.rameshnatrajan.in. Keep yourself updated about our new releases by hitting the subscribe button.